Welcome back to a brand new episode. Once again, we are out here and we will be talking about mental health. We will be taking care of ourselves and discussing how we can improve our mental health system. And in this episode, I am going to be talking about the idea of self-acceptance and self-abandonment. There is a huge, not a thin line, but a huge one, because there's a big difference between accepting yourself. I mean, the wording itself explains you are accepting yourself, self-acceptance, and you are abandoning yourself, self-abandonment. But then it seems like for most of us, it's very difficult to understand the differences and also not only understand but realize when you are now getting to a place of acceptance and when you are getting to a place of abandonment. And that's exactly what we are going to be discussing in this episode. Let's start with self-acceptance. To be honest, I have never met someone that said, I don't know, but I've never met someone that said to me, listen, I fully accept myself. I fully accept everything about myself. And remember, in the last episode, I did say that when we talk about things like self-love, there is a lot of acceptance that is involved in that process. So I personally have never met anybody who claims to have accepted all parts of themselves, but I definitely have met people that are working every day to accept all parts of themselves, and that includes myself. I mean, it's a process. First of all, there are so many insecurities, there are so many things that people told you, maybe when you were a kid, this, that, about yourself. You know, for some people, when they look at themselves in the mirror, there are some things they wish they would change. They want to be like this and that and that. There's a myriad of issues, and we are human beings. We go through all of that, and that requires every day affirming yourself and accepting the things that you cannot change. I think we need to realize that there are things that we cannot change, but there are things we can improve. You can improve something. You can improve something. You can maintain something, but sometimes you can't change it at all. So that's the whole idea around self-acceptance. Every day you're working on trying to improve certain things, adjust certain things that you know are not going to change, right? Are not going to change. That is self-acceptance, or at least the basics around it. But now there's this idea of self-abandonment that is most of the time happening to us without us realizing, like I said. And now when you begin to abandon yourself, really, you're saying, I am not going to even try to improve anything about myself. I don't care. I'm just who I am. This is who I am. I don't even know the difference. You don't even know the difference between something that you can change or control and something that you can't control and you can just adjust it and improve it. You don't even know the difference. At that point, you're just like, this is me. You're either going to get me, you're either going to accept me as I am or whatever. This is just who I am. And that's a decision that you've taken. And this is just who I am. We see a lot of people play out toxic behaviors and do things to harm other people, do things and constantly project on other people, because in my view, they've reached that point where they have abandoned themselves, or at least abandoning themselves and deciding that I'm not going to improve anything about myself. This is who I am. This is who I am. And yes, there are people that actually believe I'm perfect the way I am. I don't need to work on anything. I'm perfect. But that's a different one. That's a completely different thing. I'm talking about knowing very well that, well, making the decision consciously and knowing that uh, there are things that you're struggling with, but you don't even want to take the time out to say, okay, what can I do to try and improve this? I think there's this aspect of myself that I can really uh, handle. Maybe I need to ask for help. Maybe I need to see what I can do. You don't even self-aware. You are just like, mm-mm, this is it, this is it. I'm not even going to try and go through that route. So that's a completely different situation, and we see it played out. A lot of people that project, when we are constantly projecting and projecting out there and imposing our insecurities on other people, innocent people, people that have nothing to do with who you are and the decisions that you've taken, people that have never been part of your story, people that don't know what you went through, and people that are also going through their own things, but are somehow subject and victimized by your projections. It's simply because you have abandoned yourself. And we need to realize that in society, we need to be able to know the difference and put together one and two and realize that there's a distinction between someone who's accepted themselves, who's embracing themselves, and someone who's saying, I love myself, compared to someone who's actually have abandoned themselves, somebody who's not doing the work. Somebody who's not doing the work but is constantly projecting. And this becomes a struggle because these are the things that we cannot control. Whether or not you've abandoned yourself or accepted yourself, whether or not you love yourself or not, you cannot control other people's behavior. You cannot control their reactions. You cannot control anything. But this is where you actually use all of those tools. This is where you actually use your own backing, your own backup system. That is your level of self-love, your level of self-awareness. If you're able to say no, if you have boundaries, if you have a good enough self-esteem to be able to deal whenever you are faced with such circumstances, whenever you are faced with people that are not on the same level as you are mentally, people that are not interested in the work that you're doing, which is taking care of yourself and trying so hard every day to accept yourself. And I really think a good example to be able to tell the difference between the two is when you look at, let's say, a dead end job or something that you have to do. It could be anything, something that you don't have a choice. You signed up for it, you agreed to it, you need it. You have to do it every day. And you're just like, I'm tapped out, I don't care anymore. I'm just going to go there and do what I need to do. I don't care. I really don't care. Whatever happens type of thing. When we have that kind of mentality around something, it means that definitely we have reached a point of abandonment. You have abandoned yourself. You don't even care how you're going to react or respond to anything around that situation. But then when we talk about self-acceptance, you've accepted the fact that you have to do this thing. You have to do this job for a time being, or you need it. You need to fulfill certain types of needs and commitments. But every day, in every moment, you're trying so hard to look at the ways in which you can improve yourself and improve the situation or find a better situation. You're actively searching, you're actively doing things, you're trying, even though maybe you are not getting there as fast as you want to, but you are constantly motivating yourself, trying to look at the bright side, trying to find something else that can motivate you. That is self-acceptance. If we look at both those examples, I think it gives us a clear indication. So, I mean, to be honest, I think that we do go through periods of self-abandonment because sometimes you try so hard to deal with the situation. Sometimes you try so hard to resolve a problem, the same problem over and over and over and over again. And then you just get to a point where you feel like, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I've depleted um, everything that I have. So then how do I go about solving this? Why should I continue to invest in this? But then also, it really has an effect. It spirals down because now once you start feeling that way and you start making the decision, it's like everything, even the things that you can actually change, you no longer see them like that. You just feel like, what's the point? What's the point? What's the point? And you just become even more vulnerable to so many things and toxicity and so much that is going to hinder, that is going to affect your mental health in such a negative and detrimental way. So this is a work in progress. I really think that there is no master whatsoever or expert when it comes to such, because um I mean, when you wake up every day, you don't know what the hell are you going to face. You don't know what are you going to be dealing with, what is going to be thrown at you. But then this is where we have to rely on our mental health system. This is where you have to make sure that inside you are doing the work and you've got something to fall back on, because what is external is constantly changing. What is external is unpredictable. Things are constantly changing, things are unpredictable. Today it's this, tomorrow it's that. So what can you hold on to? Where can you rely? What can you do? That is the whole reason why we have this platform, because we need to get to that point. We are slowly moving to a place and a point where I don't think that we will entirely rely on the external things um, for our well-being and our health and our peace and everything. I don't think so. And so we need to be strong people. And I really hate using the word strong. I don't like that, because that's a whole thing also that we will break down sometime in the future. But what my definition of strong, it just basically means that you are healthy. You are healthy. You are able to say, okay, I'm in this situation, I'm in this crisis, and this is what I can rely upon in myself. I can affirm myself. I can go through it and feel it and be vulnerable and be down in the dumps. But I, at the end of the day, can pick myself up. I'm not waiting to be picked up by somebody else. I'm not waiting to be picked up by this or that. I can pick myself up because I've been working on myself, because I know who I am, because I've been affirming myself. So that's what my definition of strong is. And really, it all boils down to that at the end of the day, so that we don't abandon ourselves and we don't get to a point where we are so weak that we lose our identity, we lose ourselves. You can't stick, nothing sticks, because you just feel like, what's the point? Really, abandonment is that, it's exactly that. What's the point? What's the point of everything? What's the point? I'm just gonna do it because I'm doing it, not even because I have to, because I'm just doing it. I'm just going where the wind blows. I'm just going with the flow. And that is really detrimental, because this is where terms like narcissistic and this and that, this is where all of that mess stems from. This is where all of that mess stems from, because you get people that get to a place of self-abandonment, people that don't feel like they cannot handle, they cannot heal, they cannot do the work, and they just feel like, I'm going to be this person. I don't care. about anybody's feelings, anybody's thoughts, anybody. I don't care. Why? Because I don't care about myself. When somebody is coming across as egotistic, narcissistic, and so on, and I think I've touched on this before, it's simply because they don't care about themselves. They are not doing the work. They need help, but they have chosen not to acknowledge it. And they've decided that this is who they're going to be. Therefore, innocent people are going to suffer, but also those innocent people, depending on where they are, depending on whether they are aware of themselves or not, they will fall prey. They will become victims of other people's circumstances. And I think I've just come to really see that in myself a lot. Like all my life, I really don't want to, I don't like the whole thing of victimizing myself. I don't like that. But anyway, to just give an example, I feel like for the longest time ever, I've become the victim of other people's circumstances, whether the person was a narcissistic person, whether the person was actually insecure, whether the person was actually struggling. I've always just had to become the victor. I had to just take it in. But doing the work and doing everything that I'm doing, I've really become this person, which is, I believe, my true self. And that is a person that will not take it. I will not take it. And I will say it that I'm sorry, I won't be able to take it, because just because you're not doing that, just because you're struggling with something, how am I supposed to be the victim of your circumstances while I'm trying so hard to maintain myself every day, really? And it's really a beautiful thing if you are a person that reflects constantly. When you look at how far you've come and you look at all of that, it's really empowering, and it will motivate you to do more moving forward in regards to your mental health, in regards to your well-being, and so on. So thank you so much. It was definitely, once again, an empowering episode. I will see you next time. Make sure that you continue to take care of yourself, take care of your mental health. And it's not easy, but it's so worth it every day to just try your best with what you have, where you are, and so on. Thank you so much. Take care, and I'll definitely see you next time. Goodbye.